edition. It is Monday, Bama LSU week. We're rocking and rolling right here. Hottest show on the streets, number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Happy to have you all in here on tonight's show. We bring you the show from the magic city of Birmingham. We stream this to you through YouTube. Speaking of the channel, you know what time it is. You go ahead and tap that subscribe button right now. Do it right now. You hit subscribe. You make this your show, your space, your platform, your avenue for all things Bama football. You hit the like button as well. Tap that thumbs up. Smash the like button. Get those like levels up. We appreciate that. The daily super chat go $100 daily. Super chat, go $100 right there. We appreciate that from all of you. Got some awesome topics tonight. First and foremost, we'll kick things off with this matchup right here. Bama LSU. Big, massive, marquee, important. What's at stake? So many things on the line. We'll talk about it. We'll get into Crimson Tide down a significant wide receiver and punt returner for the remainder of the season. Who steps up? Who fills in? Who's the next man up? We'll get into that. Last but not least, a discussion: how can Jalen Milroe return to full confidence as a quarterback, especially in this matchup against LSU? He has not been the same since the matchups against Wisconsin and Georgia. So how do you get Jalen Milroe looking like the Jalen Milroe that took on the Badgers and the Bulldogs earlier in the season? We'll talk about that as well. And we'll get your phone calls, 205-448-1358. And I'm going to call in to let your voice be made known on the show, 205-448-1358. One more time, 205-448-1358. Well, Eli, let's hop right into it. Topic one of discussion here, Bama LSU. This is the game. I mean, Georgia is one of the biggest games of the season for Alabama, but this right here is the game. Bama LSU, this is the game. When you talk about NFL caliber implications, this has always been the game, Eli, where several NFL teams, if they're going to come to any game, several NFL scouts, evaluators, talent-wise, they're going to come to see Alabama LSU. It never fails. They will come for this game. This game means so much in terms of SEC implications, despite now no divisions in the Southeastern Conference. This game means so much national championship implications. This game means so much, Heisman Trophy implications have been made with this game happening. Bama LSU means a lot. And for Nick Saban, the betterment of 17 years with him being the head coach of Alabama from 2007 to 2023, he took this game personally. Nick Saban took the LSU game personally. A lot of it was because, he coached at LSU from 2000 to 2004. And when he came to Alabama in 2007, everybody at LSU thought Nick Saban was the biggest traitor to ever live because he left LSU after winning a national championship for the Tigers in 2003. But he takes a little ride to the NFL with the Miami Dolphins for a hot cup of coffee. And when he comes to Alabama, everybody thinks Nick Saban is this gigantic traitor. So for the betterment of 17 years, Saban took that LSU game personally. That's why in Saban's career, Eli, I think he's only lost to LSU, twice in his career? I think twice? Maybe 3 times? Okay, 2007. Yeah, 2007. Well, 4 times. So it was 2007. No, it was 07. But it was a 2011 regular season. Then it was, I know it was 2023, not 2023, 2022. 2022 with Bryce Young I think Saban's only lost 3, maybe 4 times throughout his tenure as the Alabama head coach. I know it was 2010 was a loss, 2007 was a loss, and I think 2019 was a loss, and 2022. So 4 times. Only 4 times in Saban's tenure, he failed at LSU. Only 4. So more times than not, Saban beat LSU. Way more times than not. He took this game personally because of everything that rolled on this game, right? You look at during the Saban tenure, this game had Heisman implications. Remember 2015 when you had Leonard Fournette coming to Tuscaloosa against Derrick Henry, and everybody felt like Fournette was going to win the Heisman. That game happened. Derrick Henry took the Heisman right out of Leonard Fournette's hands. That game. This game in the Saban era, you had SEC championship implications. Normally, the winner of this game would represent the western side of the SEC in Atlanta for the conference championship. This game, normally, national championship implications. Many people thought the winner of this game would go play for a national title. Well, now here is Kalen DeBoer. He now opens this new chapter of the Alabama LSU rivalry with him being the newest head coach for the Crimson Tide. Kalen DeBoer steps into this. He steps into this rivalry that goes to Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on Saturday. This is a big game. This is a marquee matchup between Kalen DeBoer and Brian Kelly, between Alabama and LSU. What's at stake? What is at stake? College football playoff hopes. Somebody is going to keep their ticket to be a part of this 12-team dance at the end, and somebody is hitting the chopping block and will not get in. Because with a number of undefeated teams still remaining in college football, I just don't see it, Ian. I don't see a 3-loss team making it into the playoff. I don't see it. I don't see it. It could happen, maybe, possibly. I just don't see it. So what is at stake right now for both teams? A shot to remain in the conversation with the 12-team college football playoff dance. Alabama's got 2 conference losses. Tennessee, Vanderbilt. LSU, a conference loss to Texas A&M. LSU trying to avoid a second conference loss here. Big matchup here on Saturday between these two teams, as the LSU game has always been the game. When you look at Alabama football fans, especially under Bear Bryant, and as of late, notably, Coach Saban. But we're going to take a break here, folks. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we get to the phone lines, we get your calls, your thoughts, your conversations. How are you feeling about Bama, LSU this weekend? We'll talk about it after this.
TDA Plus is the all-new Ultimate Alabama Football Package, perfect for any Alabama football fan. Not only do you get subscriber-only articles where you can stay up to date on everything that's going on with Alabama football, you also get our brand new video hub that features many podcasts and shows, including Steven's Report with Stephen M. Smith. With over 15 years of covering Alabama football, you get trusted information as Stephen goes in person to see the team come back and break down to you what he saw live in person. You also get the Way It Is podcast with Stephen M. Smith, where he tells never-heard-before stories and crazy situations that happened during his 15-year tenure of covering Alabama football. You also get Justin and Dex, where they break down recruits like you've never seen it before, with exclusive behind-the-scenes information and exclusive interviews with recruits. You also get Justin's Recruiting Bites with Justin Smith, where you get the best up-close and personal recruiting information and even talks to you while he's on the road going to recruiting events. Alabama fans, you don't want to miss this huge offer for a jam-packed experience for only $7.95 per month. Visit touchdownalabama.com and become a TDA Plus member today.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, how we feeling? How we feeling on a Monday? Getting that work week started off for you correctly. Hottest show in the streets. Talking your Bama football news in my own words. Yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA Bama LSU. This weekend, college football playoff implications on the line. So much at stake. Also, people, remember tomorrow, Election Day. Do your due diligence. As an American citizen, go to that voting poll, cast your vote. Your opinion matters, your vote matters, your process matters. Go right there, cast your vote tomorrow as it being Election Day. But Jason Hayward dropping in that $5 donation, helping us out here on the show. Appreciate Jason Hayward putting that love there in the bucket. Phone lines open. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. And I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. You're live on the show. What's happening, how we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yo, man, we calling from Jersey, New York. What's going on out there, my Roll Tide fans? Yo, what's going on, Steven?
Doing good, man. You're doing good. You got Bama, you got LSU this weekend. This was always the game as the game. Coach Saban took this personally. So this is the game right here.
I agree. What we have to do is you got to play with intensity on both sides of the football. Stop running. Run the ball. Break down the defense. Milroe needs to make those mid plays. Don't try to always go down the field and make explosive plays. Do those substantial drives like you talked about. That has to be the game plan. And then mix it up. When you hit the red zone, run it in. Switch it up. Bring Young in. Bring Miller. Bring Hayes in. That's what they're designed for. You agree or disagree with me?
Dante, I agree with you. You got to mix it up. You look at this is an LSU team that loves to rush the quarterback. How do you stop a pass rush? You run the football right at it, right? You go strength on strength. You tell your big offensive linemen, buckle up your chin straps, wear them down, and create ways for this run game to get up and down the field. And you got the backs that can do it. I mean, Justice Haynes is averaging, over 6 yards a carry. So is Jam Miller. Richard Young had an explosive run last week. He can make some things happen. So in this matchup against an LSU team that has struggled this season, stopping the run, you run the football at them and you mix it up.
Right. And I would say include Law in more. Let everybody get touches. But include Law, because I think Law is probably, the fastest on the team? I think he is.
He's definitely one of the fastest guys on the team in the mile-per-hour catapult system. But you want to incorporate him because he can do so many things that help your offense flow, right? And you want your offense to flow. And part of having that offense flow is getting as many guys on the field to take the eye discipline away from a defense.
Right. What I feel is if he has that pressure, I looked at your past show. If he has that pressure, if it's not there, throw the ball away. Please, Milroe, don't run back or try to run right to left. when you get sacked. Don't panic. If you're going to make that throw, step in the pocket and throw it and get it out of your hands quick. I feel like Milroe holds the ball too long. Way too long.
And part of that, Dante, is for a lot of dual threat quarterbacks, and in particular Jalen Milroe, you try so hard to convince these NFL teams that are evaluating you, especially when you're draft eligible, that you can be a big-time passer. I understand that. But you play the game that got you here. These NFL teams, they're going to look at you at the NFL Combine anyway. They're going to look at you at the Senior Bowl anyway. They're going to look at you at your respective pro day anyway. So all that they're going to see it regardless. So don't overwhelm yourself by thinking, well, I got to impress this NFL scout. I got to impress this NFL evaluator. No, you play the game in college as you're trying to win a championship. You play the game that has got you to this point.
Exactly. I was timing him last game, and I said, oh, man, throw it away, just like he said. If it's not there, make it on the next down. And the defense, they played decent. They played way better, but they should have been playing like that game one all the way now. You have to figure out what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong and be optimistic and make those adjustments, like how you said, on the second half.
With the good news,
I didn't want to keep you on long.
Absolutely. Dante from New York calling and appreciate his thoughts right here. For the defense, I'll say this. A lot of that was you have guys that have to learn going from the Nick Saban 3-4 nickel alignment to the Kane Womack 4-2-5 look. So that's the difference. You've got guys that were so Saban coached. They were coached Nick Saban 3-4, 3-4, 3-4, and now you have to unlearn that and pick up a 4-2-5. So that was the toughest thing for the defense. But I think the last few games, the last 2 or 3 games, the guys have started to knock in more. We've seen takeaways. Coach Womack's group has created 10 takeaways in the last 3 games. Guys are starting to understand it a bit better now. You're seeing more pressure to the quarterback. You're starting to see some things trend up for the defense. You still want to see more stopping the run, absolutely, but we're starting to see a bit more things trend up there for Alabama's defense. This weekend will be a big challenge in stopping an explosive offense led by Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback. You've got Kyron Lacey at wide receiver, Aaron Anderson at wide receiver, Mason Taylor at tight end. LSU's got some weapons. Got to be able to shut those guys down. But 205-448-1358, the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. One more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from all of you. Call topic here, Eli. How about Bryce Young on Sunday? Bryce, big win for Carolina. Carolina got a 23-22 win over the Saints. Second win of the season for Carolina. First win of this season for Bryce as the starter. Bryce played well. Yes, he had an interception that was not his fault. The ball hit the guy dead in his hands, and the receiver allowed the DB to take it away from him. That's not on Bryce. But Bryce had a drive, Eli, in the fourth quarter yesterday, late fourth quarter. 4 plays, 64-yard drive. Panthers were trailing 17-22 on this drive. Bryce takes them up and down the field. This drive, reminiscent of the 2021 Iron Bowl drive. Remember, that drive, Bryce and Vitae backed up on its own 3-yard line? Bama goes 97 yards in 12 plays. Bryce Young, 28-yard touchdown pass to Ja'Cory Brooks. Tied the game at 10. He pulled out that vintage Bryce yesterday for the Panthers against the Saints. And getting that win there, Bryce flashing a smile after all he's been through this season. Such a precious, precious moment for him. We go to this phone call. Here you're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven, it's Daniel from Phoenix City. How are you?
Doing great, Daniel. Doing great. We got Alabama, LSU this week. This is the game right here. Daniel, how you feeling?
Man, I'm good. I'm off work. I'm just leaving, so I'm doing awesome, man. But I wanted to talk to you about a couple things. I think I was a little misunderstood last time when I was talking about the offensive line. I don't think the offensive line needs a lot of work. I think the offensive line just steadily needs to open those holes up and, make it easier for the backs to be able to get through. Because, I mean, if you want to talk about the early 2000s offensive lines of yore, I mean, those guys would make holes big enough for a train to drive through. And, and especially when you had a guy like Derrick Henry, that was a tank himself. You get that guy going through that hole, you get a DB in his way, he's going to run flat over him.
Right.
And Derrick Henry, right. He's always been a guy that, it takes him 4 or 5 steps to get that speed, but once he gets there, he's done. He's gone. Right. And if you got to stop him, you got to stop him in the backfield. But moving on from that, I got a couple things I want to say and then a couple questions. But Kendrick Law, we've got to use him. That dude, no matter he's been blocking his butt off all year. And they've ran that little, jet sweep with him a couple times. And he's going to pick up 15 yards on it every time. 15, 20 yards. Am I wrong?
He is going to pick up 15 to 20. They've also ran a little pop pass with him that's been successful. They've also used him on some small routes. Kendrick Law knows how to find the sticks for a first down, but what makes him so valuable is he controls the eyes of an opposing defense. He forces a defense to not have the eye discipline that it needs out there. And that's why you want him on the field. Whether you are getting him the football, whether he's used as a decoy, wherever he is, he manipulates the discipline of that opposing defense.
Right. And he's explosive every time he gets the ball. I just like to see him more. And I'm also hoping we get to see Kobe be Kobe as he was. I'd really like to see that because, this last game against Mizzou, he was a little off, and I'm hoping, he gets back in the swing of things because that guy, he can really turn a field around. But what I was going to ask you, the biggest thing, I admittedly have not watched a whole lot of LSU this year. What do you think about their running game versus Alabama's running game?
LSU this year, they've been able to run the football some, but their biggest thing is the passing game. Their biggest thing is Garrett Nussmeier and his arm. Nussmeier, 2,600, 27 passing yards this season. It's got 20 touchdowns, 9 picks. They've got weapons, whether it's Kyron Lacey, whether it's Aaron Anderson, former Alabama receiver, whether it's Mason Taylor at tight end. Their biggest thing is the passing game. And they want to try to open up and attack Alabama's corners, attack Alabama's DBs vertically. They can run the football, but that's not the bread and butter that Brian Kelly wants to go with. Brian Kelly wants to put this ball in Garrett Nussmeier's hands and say, kid, cook them, shred them up. That's what Brian Kelly wants to do.
And this will be I'm not to take anything away from Carson Beck, but so far this year, again, from the little bit I've seen, not watching a whole lot of LSU this year, I feel like Nussmeier has been, I don't know want to say more efficient, but more impressive as a passer. But that said, I do kind of like this matchup with the DBs because the last several games, the DBs have played their butts off. So I'm interested to see how this plays out.
They've stepped up. I mean,
Hubbard. Go ahead, Stephen.
They have stepped up. You look at the Tennessee game, and Mbakwe got his first career interception. You look at the way Bray Hubbard has played in the absence of Keon Sabb. He's allowing Malachi to be more free. It's like Malachi's playing with more energy. He had a pick against Missouri. You look at Damani Jackson has been pretty sound all year. Xavier Brown's continuing to grow. You're seeing the depth there starting to come into form. The DBs, they have started to understand this vision coverage that Kane Womack has in this 4-2-5 defense. But with Garrett Nussmeier, he is going to test it because he's aggressive. He's going to want to throw the football, fit the ball in the tight windows, give his guys a chance at 50-50 contested balls. Garrett Nussmeier is going to be aggressive with it. Now, he has 9 interceptions this year because there are moments where he can be a bit too aggressive and he gets himself into trouble at times. But that's that's Nussmeier's nature. He's going to want to attack. He's going to want to be aggressive. So for Alabama, can you find a way to use that against him?
Right. And the last thing I'd like to say, going back just a bit, the only good game, in my opinion, I ever saw Bill O'Brien call was the 2021 SEC championship. Because let's be honest, Bryce bailed Bill O'Brien out most games.
A lot of times.
But he called a masterful game in that 2021 SEC championship, using those little short passes as the de facto run game, which in turn actually opened up the run game with B-Rob. And I say that to say I am hoping to God they don't do that to Alabama on Saturday, because while they've stepped up at that linebacker position, I just don't want the middle of the field to get torn up.
That is going to be one of the biggest matchups, Daniel, of this game. Is going to be Alabama's linebackers and how disciplined they're going to be in this game. You look at Campbell, Lawson. I would like to see a bit more Justin Jefferson, but we'll see how Kane Womack plays. Just appreciate Daniel calling in from Phoenix City. We're going to grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening, how we feel, and state your name and where you calling from.
Hey, this is Mike from Jacksonville. How you doing, Steve?
Mike, how we feeling? Doing well. How are you?
Hey, I got a question for you that maybe nobody's thinking about. Have you been looking at the Gulf, right? The weather in the Gulf, the hurricane that's going to be, it's got the cone right now headed towards Louisiana, at least projected.
Right.
On Saturday at 1 o'clock. Have anybody talked about that in Alabama in regards to moving the game possibly over to T-Town?
Now, that no one has had that conversation, Mike. No one's had that. And that's intriguing that I haven't heard anybody bring that up. So between Tuesday and Wednesday, hopefully somebody brings that into the conversation, because that does need to be talked about.
Yeah, you still there?
I'm still here.
Yeah, you're right. You know, here's the thing about it is I was just looking at the forecast. It's projected to become a hurricane, and like I say, Louisiana is in the cone area, but it can kind of slide. But it looks like it's going to hit that area, at least what's projected. Like I say, Saturday at 1. So a decision is going to have to be made prior to that, from a logistics standpoint. So I guess they might wait till Thursday or, because it's going to be still in the Gulf on Thursday.
Right. So if a move, Mike, is made to transition that matchup to Tuscaloosa, the SEC, of course, and then both programs, Bama and LSU, they got to make that move at least by Wednesday.
But, like I said, you probably want to look at that since you're in Alabama, I was just saying that have anybody been looking at that? So, it's still kind of early, but just looking at the radar, man, and how they forecasting this thing out and the projection, I mean, that'll be a plus. I hate to say this in time of a storm, but that'll be good for Alabama, at least a home game, But then again, like I say, the logistics. But that's the only reason I was calling, just to see if you heard anything about Alabama, anybody even brought it up in regards to Louisiana.
Absolutely. Appreciate Mike there calling in from Jacksonville. That'll be something, Eli, for you and I to keep our eyes on. If there is a decision that's made, we'll be keeping our eyes on the radar and prayers out that no destructive forces happen in any sense of the word. But if there happens to be a need to relocate the football game to Tuscaloosa, that'll be something, Eli, you and I will definitely be monitoring that. But we grab this phone call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from. Oh, there we go. Then we got a Roll Tide in here. How we doing?
What's up with you, Steve? That's my baby boy, Junior.
Hey, Jay, you starting the family off right, man. I see that.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know, Steve. My big boy, he an Auburn fan, man. My brother got to him somehow.
Hold on, Jay. So you telling me a story that I'm all too familiar with. So my uncle got my baby sister. I don't know how he snuck in and did this, but my uncle got my baby sister Rachel at 4 years old to LSU. My uncle put a LSU hat. No, for real. My uncle put a LSU hat on Rachel's head when she was 4. My uncle messed it all the way up, man.
Man, I'm talking about my boy be there watching Dave Brown highlights and all kinds of stuff. So I can't be mad because you're watching a great player, but it's still like, we do got a Justin Allen, but nah, he don't care nothing about that old. I don't know, Steve. But this one here, I'm gonna make sure that this one here is a Bama fan.
Hey, you got to correct it somehow, Jay.
Hey, but the glass caller stole my topic, man. I sure was going because looking at the weather for work and stuff. I'm like, man, it's a hurricane, a little tropical storm, or whatever they call it, coming this weekend. I was wanting to know what they was gonna do about the game too.
Well, right now, Jay, I mean, nobody has brought up a question. Nobody has said anything. So I'm looking at this. If something's going to be done, it would have to be between Tuesday and Wednesday. It would have to be because you would have to, have the SEC put this in action. Then both athletic directors for LSU, of course, for Alabama, Greg Byrne, they got to put this in action. And then you would have to make that switch logistics-wise to have the game transition from Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge to Bryant-Denny in Tuscaloosa. So a conversation has to be started. If this is going to happen, a conversation has to be started between Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That family, this is a chance for old Kalen DeBoer to kind of apologize to us, make up for his Vandy loss and his Tennessee loss here.
Absolutely.
He got to take that team in there and beat the hell out of LSU. I'm talking about it. Doing like you did, Missouri. You need to be apologizing to us for how these boys out there knocking people's heads off, how you out there running the blanking ball. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see Milroe.
Right, because
I don't want to see Milroe doing too much.
Right. Because, Jay, we saw for the betterment of 17 years, Coach Saban took this game as the game. Like, this was so personal to Saban. Like, Saban took this as Bama LSU, this is the game. As much as, Bama played Georgia, and Bama played Auburn, and Bama played a lot of teams. But when this game came up on the schedule, the 1st of November, Nick Saban looked at this game for the benefit of 17 years and said, yeah, we play Georgia, yeah, we play Auburn, yeah, we play these teams, but this game, this is the game.
LSU ain't been too good against that run, man. Like, I'm ready to see these crazy 12 personnel packages he used to run at Washington and stuff. Like, I don't know if it's Nick Sheridan or this a new plan he got here at Bama, but man, we need to see Robbie Ouzts and not which one the bigger of the tight ends is Robbie Ouzts and is it CJ Dupree?
Dupree, yes.
Man, we need to see them boys over there. I'm talking about they need to be in motion, coming, crack blacks, all that. Like, we need to see all of this game. I'm talking about in the run game with the running backs and the jet sweeps and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? We need to see that this game, that creativity that Jay been calling for the last years and thought he had in the coach that came, but he need to go and show that to it. And like I say, man, this gonna be your I'm sorry, fans, for the Vanderbilt for embarrassing y'all like that. I'm sorry for embarrassing this program like that. I'm sorry for the Tennessee loss. It shouldn't have never happened. And when we went and got on the 3-yard line, I need to know the Alabama way of football, and that is to run the ball and break your wheel. Because everybody know when you run that ball across the goal line, that do something to the defense. You know what I'm saying? So
it does.
I just hope he know where he at and who he playing, and because man, you can't leave no doubt in LSU. That's why we got the other couple years. You had the coordinator that just sat there and let the running quarterback run all day, no spot, nothing. You know what I'm saying? So you got to go in there and break these folks' wheel now. And apologize to the fan base, man. I love y'all, family. Let's get it. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. Jay from Florence calling in there. Funny that Jay mentioned Robbie Ouzts. Robbie Ouzts, over the bye week, I sat there and said, somebody has to do the dirty work, and I'll be that guy. He mentioned, I don't need the ball. I wasn't big on stats even in high school. I specialized in the dirty work anyway. Here's a game where you let Robbie Ouzts be that fullback, H-back, counterback, go crackback, block somebody to the ground. Here's the game where you let Robbie Ouzts make his NFL draft stock as a fullback. Here's the game for it right here. I mean, Robbie done already said, hey, I'm the dirty work guy. Here's the game where every NFL scout can see this man do this dirty work and increase his value even more. I mean, here it is. Right here. Right here. But we're going to go to another break right here, folks. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we get into Bama's next man up at wide receiver. A significant guy in the rotation. He's out for the rest of the year. Bama's got to have somebody to step up. What could I be referring to? We'll talk about it after this. We're out here at Alumni Hall in Tuscaloosa. Oh, yeah, this. Oh, man. Gotta get this. Gotta get one of these right here. Can't rock that Bama without this shirt right here, fresh polo. You gotta also rock the all pink, like Kanye West right there. Keychains, gotta get you some keychains. University of Alabama keychains. I'm telling you, if you are a die-hard Alabama fan and you're looking for some big-time apparel, this place has got everything. We're talking shirts, shoes, sweatshirts, hoodies, cups, mugs, keychains. If you're just a Tide fan that has an itch to get more apparel, get more swag in your game, you come right here at Alumni Hall in Tuscaloosa, right here in Midtown Village. And also you can shop online. The link is in the description to get your gear right here at Alumni Hall.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, here we go. We're back into the action from the break on a Monday. Hottest show in the streets, talking Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Continue to hit that like button, tap that thumbs up, raise those like levels up right there. We appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button as well. Make this your show, your platform, your space here to talk Bama football. That daily Super Chat go, $100 daily. Super Chat go, $100 right there. We appreciate that coming from you. But topic two, eating out of the conversation, we look at here, Bama next man up mentality. We've seen it in the secondary, right? Deion Sapp gets hurt. You got Bryce Young stepping up, which is allowing you to see what your depth is in that defensive secondary. Now offensively, Alabama's significant part of the rotation, a young man out for the remainder of the season, that being Cole Adams, redshirt freshman from Oklahoma, former four-star in the 2023 recruiting class, a guy who is a playmaker who was getting quite a few opportunities this season. You go back to the spring, Jamarcus Shepard nicknamed Cole Adams Mr. Reliable. He was starting to own up that name. He had 2 catches for 57 yards against South Carolina. Here was a guy that was the starting punt returner for Alabama, fearless guy back there returning punts, and a guy that so far this season had 4 catches for 96 yards. Well, he got hurt against Missouri, lower body injury, was seen leaving the field 2 weeks ago on crutches. According to King and DeBoer, today, Cole Adams out for the rest of the year with that injury. So it hurts there for Alabama due to the fact that we were starting to see Cole rise. We were starting to see him step up. We were starting to see him make plays out there on the field. So what happens now? We have a next man up mentality, right? So you already have Ryan Williams as your main number 1 receiver. You got Jeremy Bernard starting to step up as your number 2 guy. You got Kendrick Law as your Swiss Army knife who can do a lot of things. He needs to be getting the ball more. But a name that should be the immediate next man up, Eli, is Kobe Prentice. This is the guy that should be the immediate next man up in Cole Adams' absence. Why? Prentice has the experience, people. This is a guy, former 4-star 2022 class from Clara High School here in Alabama. Prentice, the last 2 years prior to this season, we're looking at 49 catches, 651 yards, 4 touchdowns. We're looking at a speedster who can run all the routes on the route tree. Prentice, we thought, would get more opportunities this season. Against Vanderbilt, he suffered a hit to the head, had a concussion there. And when he got hurt, he missed some practices, a couple of practices after that. So he and Milroe are not in sync with each other because Prentice gets hurt, misses some practices, misses a couple of games, not having the reps, not having the timing. And when you miss out on reps, when you miss out on timing, Eli, you get rusty. You're not in the flow of the offense. And it takes you some time to get back into that flow, to build back up that chemistry, that connection, that rhythm, your quarterback. And we saw it against Missouri. Milroe and Prentice, they couldn't hook up on a few passes. Why? They haven't been in sync with each other. Why? There's no rhythm. Why? Kobe Prentice was trying to work back from an injury. So now that he's been back from that injury, he and Milroe, they've got to get in sync. They've got to get in sync. Because once they get in sync, then those routes that they were not connecting on, they're going to be connecting on. So I think Kobe Prentice needs to be that immediate next man up with Cole Adams out. Now, a couple of other guys that should see action more, you can look at Emmanuel Henderson and Caleb Odom. Now, Henderson, I don't know if people have noticed this, but Henderson's averaging 20.5 yards a catch this season. That is the quietest, most underrated 20.5 yards per catch average. Hendo has caught 4 passes for 80 yards this season. He's had 4 explosive catches. So when he's been given an opportunity, he is elevating and snatching that football. Henderson needs to be targeted more. I mean, here's a guy that wants to be out there. He wants to make plays. He wants to be on the field. He wants to be an impact player. And he's working his tail off. So more chances need to be created for Emmanuel Henderson. On top of that, more chances need to be created for Caleb Odom at 6'5", 227 pounds. Big body, big weapon, big playmaking ability. Not just in the red area, but he could also be used on third down. He can also be used to stretch the field vertically. You got 6'5", 227 pounds. You got to get that brother the football. I'm sorry. You got to find a way to get that dude the football. He's a mismatch for opposition. So, Emmanuel Henderson, Caleb Odom, these two guys have to touch the football. But I think the immediate next man up, just my opinion, it would be Kobe Prentice. As far as on punt return, you already have your 2 next guys up to fill in the absence of Cole Adams. Those 2 guys, Jalen Mbakwe and Ryan Williams. So your main 2 guys to fill in for Cole Adams at this time. But it stinks not having Adams out there. Pray for him the best recovery, smooth recovery for him to get back out there. But next man up mentality for Alabama. Main guy, Kobe Prentice, but you also have Caleb Odom and Emmanuel Henderson that need opportunities as well. We're going to take another break right here, folks. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we go to the phone lines. We're going to grab your calls, your thoughts, your conversations. We get back to you, the Bama fan base, right after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Kalen DeBoer and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
This is Chris Rogers, 2009 national champion. You are listening to the baddest, when I say the baddest, sports show in the state of Alabama. In my own words, yours truly, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Don't touch that dial.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people. We're rocking and rolling with you to the action from the break on a Monday. Number 1 ticket for your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Remember, folks, tomorrow, Tuesday, voting polls open. Exercise that right to vote. Hit the polls tomorrow. This is your chance, your opportunity, your mission Cast your vote out there. So take ownership. Take the opportunity to go to those polls tomorrow and vote there. But 205-448-1358 for them to call in. Let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Definitely want to hear from you. But as you guys are getting your thoughts prepared to call in, the call topic, Eli. So one Las Vegas betting site has increased the odds on Bama to beat LSU. And that being Circa Sports out of Vegas. They got Bama as a full 3-point favorite over the Tigers. Now, most sites have Bama as a 2.5-point favorite. Some have Bama as a 1.5-point favorite. But Circa Sports out of Vegas has Bama full-on 3-point favorite over LSU on the road in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is going to be an interesting football game. I'm excited, man. You got two really good teams. You got a lot on the line, a lot at stake. College football playoff implications on the line. So much happening. Kalen DeBoer looking to show, hey, I can command the stage. Jalen Milroe, big game for him coming up this week. Bama defense, can it shut down this high-powered LSU offensive attack led by Garrett Nussmeier? A lot to look forward to. A lot to look forward to. But Circa Sports out of Las Vegas, they got Bama 3-point favorite over LSU. Let the games begin, as they say. Gonna take our final break here, folks. We'll touch that down when we get back. We wrap things up with this conversation. How can Jalen Milroe regain full confidence this matchup against the Tigers? We'll wrap things up with that after this.
I'm Malachi Moore, and you're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith on Touchdown Alabama YouTube channel.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
What's going on? This is Benny Bice. I'm the founder and owner of Touchdown Alabama. And you guys are supporting one of the only independent outlets covering Alabama football today. No other sports, no networks, just Alabama football. Roll Tide Roll.
All right, folks, here we go. Here we go. Wrapping things up here on a Monday. Hottest show in the streets. Talking your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Got my man Eli Walker here in the production studio. Final discussion here, Eli. How can Jalen Milroe regain full confidence for this matchup here against LSU? Milroe is going to be the X factor in this football game. He's going to be the X factor. Milroe's feet, as well as his arm. And we saw native Texan put on a show against Wisconsin earlier this season at Camp Randall Stadium, Madison, Wisconsin. We also saw the redshirt junior put on a show against Georgia at Bryant-Denny earlier this season. He has not looked the same way since those two games. And so how do you regain your confidence? Number one, I'm Jalen Milroe. I'm having a lot of conversations with Nick Sheridan about what can we do to effectively attack LSU's defense? And along with that, what type of plays do I need to run to put us in the biggest moments to be successful? I'm running both of those questions by Sheridan, and I am going through plays that speak to both of those questions, right? Because you're going to have to run the ball successfully against LSU. The Tigers are allowing 130.8 yards per game rushing. They give a lot on the ground. Opponents have rushed for 14 touchdowns on LSU's defense. They give a lot on the ground. So you're Jalen Milroe. You're talking to Nick Sheridan like, we're going to have to run this ball. We're going to have to get Justice Haynes, Jam Miller, Richard Young involved. You're going to have to get me involved on design quarterback runs. I'm not saying run Jalen Milroe 20 times. Absolutely not. But you're going to have to get Milroe involved in some quarterback runs. But then on top of that, you're going to have to get Jalen Milroe's arm involved. Whether it's running back screens, wide receiver screens, tight end screens, slant routes, skinny bang 8 post routes inside, out routes. You're going to have different concepts. Tight ends involved. You're going to have to do that. Easy throws, easy, simple throws. To get his confidence going here in this football game. Remember last year, Eli, what Tommy Reese did that got Milroe going? Had 155 yards rushing that game, 4 touchdowns on the ground, had over 100 yards passing. Tommy Reese did that against LSU, and it was huge. Bama got the 42-28 win, and then Reese failed to go to that game plan the rest of the season. I don't know why he went away from it after it was brilliant against LSU. I really hope Nick Sheridan doesn't do that. You find something that really, truly works in a marquee matchup, and then you just abandon it the rest of the season. Because Milroe is in a place where he's got to get back into the offensive flow. I mean, it looked like he was trending to get back there the second half against Missouri. But you got to get that man back into an offensive rhythm. You got to get that man back into an offensive chemistry. Because he is not there as of right now. He's not there. So you got to run the football first and foremost, and then mix in some easy, simple throws. Get his game going here against the Tigers. You're able to do that and have this offensive line block well, protect well, then you got yourself something. As always, folks, you want the best in news, notes, information, coverage, entertainment on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio needs, check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, iHeartRadio, Google Play. We got you covered right there. The good and gracious Lord sees fit. I'll try to be back on Wednesday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Remember, Bama fans, you got to subscribe to TouchdownAlabama.com. You do that right now. You get you that subscription to TouchdownAlabama.com. Go there right now today. Get you that subscription to have all of your Bama in the palm of your hands there. Bama Nation, got to appreciate all of you for the calls today. Chatting in the YouTube chat line for donations today. Appreciate that from all of you. Appreciate my man Eli Walker in the production studio holding it down there, folks. Remember, tomorrow, Election Day, voting. Get to those polls. Cast your vote. Your voice, your opinion, you matter. Cast that vote tomorrow. I'll be at the polls bright and early doing my due diligence. Eli, I know you will be doing that as well. But until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing the right thing, fun thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored there. You get yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Till next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and you've been listening to In My Own Words.